Hey Credit Warriors, Credit Shifu here, and today we are going to be talking about credit card points and what they're actually worth, and basically asking the question, are credit card points valuations actually accurate? Okay, because you'll always get someone, I say in a video, Chase points are worth 2 cents per point. You'll always get someone in the comments typing, no, Chase points are worth 1.5 cents per point. So you know what this person's doing, right? Basically, they've got the Chase Sapphire Reserve, and they're getting 1.5 cents per point through the travel portal, booking travel. So they just assume that Chase points are worth 1.5 cents per point, no matter how you use them, okay? So, basically this person isn't very in the know, and there's a lot of different valuations, and we're going to get to all of the different types of uses for these points a little bit later on in the video. But first of all, we'll talk about valuations, okay? So you notice I said that Chase points are worth 2 cents per point. Now, generally in my videos, I use the Points Guy's valuations when I mention valuations of various credit card points. That's just kind of because he was the first website I started reading when I started getting into all this credit card stuff, okay? And so it's a little bit of like a tip of the hat to him, and free publicity for him. Obviously, there are quite a lot of different websites that do valuations of points. So you've got all of the boarding area blogs and stuff like View from the Wing. Some of those guys also have valuations. They're sometimes a little bit different from the Points Guys valuations, and there's no real right or wrong answer, so you can kind of choose the one that you like and the one that you feel fits most with your spending, okay? And these valuations are always going to be kind of an average value when you consider all of the different ways, from the worst way to use your points to the best way to use your points, where you get the most value out of them, okay? Now let's start having a look at some of the different uses of these points and the different values you can get. So Rami from Points Pointers did a couple of videos recently, the worst ways to use your, I think it was Amex points, and the best ways to use them, okay? So I've kind of taken inspiration from that. So, some of the worst ways you could use your points would be buying things on Amazon, okay? Both Amex points and I believe Chase points are usable on Amazon, and you get about 0.5 cents per point in value. Then with American Express, you can also use the points to pay for purchases on the card. You get about 0.6 cents in value doing that. You can also use them for travel through Amex Travel, where you get about 1 cent per point booking flights. And then obviously you can transfer them out to airlines. Now with Chase, so Chase and Amex points, by the way, both worth about 2 cents per point according to the Points Guy. So with Chase, yeah, you can do 1 cent per point for cashback or gift cards. Then with the Sapphire Reserve, it's 1.5 cents per point for travel through the travel portal. And then transferring out to airlines at a 1-to-1 ratio, you can get higher valuations, particularly if you book business and first class, all right? So there's a wide range of valuations. Now, when transferring out to airlines, and most credit cards transfer at a 1-to-1 ratio, but there are some that don't. They transfer at slightly different ratios, slightly worse ratios. And with transferring to airlines, this is where you're generally going to get the best value for your points. Now, with booking economy, it's not going to be too much different to booking through, say, the Chase travel portal. You'll often get around 1.4, 1.5. Sometimes, arguably, it might be better to book through the travel portal, and you can earn airline miles at the same time and get status and stuff like that. Well, unless you're booking like basic economy or something. But I don't fly basic economy. Anyway, so with airline miles, generally though, the higher you go in class, like business class, first class, the higher value you're gonna get from your points. And going back to Rami from Points Pointers, we had him on our show, and he was talking about some tickets that he got incredible value on. I think with the Korean Air first class, he got 8 to 9 cents in value per point. And then also in Cathay Pacific first class, he got a whopping 25 to 26 cents worth of value on that $18,000 one-way ticket. So if you bought it with cash, it would have cost $18,000 for a one-way ticket from Hong Kong to New York. Now, who really buys one-way tickets? Often first class, one-way tickets can be the same price as a return ticket. So even if you halve it, he was still getting about 13 cents in value per point, which is still amazing, okay? Still much better than Chase Travel Portal, than cashback, than Amazon, etc. So you can see from that the level that, say, the Points Guy or other people who value points pick, most people value Chase points at around 2 cents per point. It's kind of in the middle, considering, those people who use it for first class tickets at incredible values, those people use it for cashback, those people who use it for travel through the portal, and kind of picking what's it most frequently used for, where's the valuation gonna sit, all right? It's not an exact science, and everyone who does these valuations admits it's not an exact science, okay? But you can see the trend. In general, the higher class you go, the better value you get. And you're gonna see this trend with hotel points as well. So let's move on to talking a little bit about hotel points. So we'll look at Marriott Points first, which now obviously merged with SPG and everything, Ritz-Carlton, everything like that. Those are valued by the Points guy at 0.9 cents a piece. A lot of other bloggers do similar valuations, and you can kind of see the trend from low to high. So if you book this hotel, the Marriott Courtyard by Marriott in Middletown, New York, out in the countryside, just one of those small hotels comparable to Hampton Inn by Hilton, etc., you get 0.71 cents per point. Okay, so it's 17,500 points, and the price per night would be $125 per room per night. So you're getting 0.71 cents, actually lower than TPG's valuation. And then we go for, you know, a higher level property, like the Ritz-Carlton I stayed at in Grand Cayman a few months ago. That was 60,000 Marriott points per night, and the room would have cost $868 per night. So you're actually getting a value of 1.4 cents per point. So that's actually higher than TPG's valuation of 0.9 cents. So you can see the lower level properties a little bit lower than the valuation. The higher level properties are a bit higher than the valuation. So the valuation sits kind of in the middle. Now let's look at Hilton. So Points Guy values Hilton at 0.6 cents. There's another valuation I've seen, it's at 0.45 cents. Which I sometimes feel might be more accurate. But anyway, so if we look at Hampton Inn in Middletown, New York, you get 0.39 cents of value per point. All right, so that's 30,000 points per night, and the rooms cost $119. And then if we look at the Beverly Hilton, where I've also stayed in Beverly Hills, it's 0.51 cents per point, okay? So the rooms are 60,000 points a night for the standard room, and it's $309 per night. So actually, that's still a little bit below the Points Guy's valuation, but above that other valuation of 0.45 cents. But I think it gets distorted by the fact that you get something much better value when you book, you know, Hilton resorts and sort of like overwater villas and stuff like that, the really high-end properties. Okay, so those are just a few examples, and it kind of shows you the trend. As you get the lower end of things, you tend to get worse value, so economy class on planes, lower end hotel, like 3-star hotels, that kind of thing, 2-star hotels. And then once you get to the higher end, business class, first class, 4- and 5-star hotels, you're getting much better value for your points, and the typical valuations that those websites give sit kind of in the middle there, okay? And just another note, some companies have been sending out, you know, notably American Express and Chase have been sending out 1099 forms for people who have done referral bonuses, who've got referral bonuses. Basically, you're doing marketing for their company, so it kind of counts as income. And they value the points at 1 cent per piece for tax purposes, okay? So for the purposes, so if you've done a load of referrals, it can count as income, and it's valued at 1 cent per piece. So that's a nice surprise that they're valuing it definitely lower than, you know, the Points Guy and, you know, other websites that value points, okay? And there's one more thing I want to mention as well, is that how much are the points worth to you, okay? So even if Chase points are valued at, say, 2 cents per point, if you're a person who has like a family of 4, say, and you always travel together in economy, it's often harder to find, you know, award availability for 4 seats. Even in economy, it can be hard, right? So you might not want to transfer to airlines. You might want the convenience of just booking through the portal. And in that case, if you're using CSR, then it would be 1.5 cents per point, okay? And because you're not doing these business class, first class redemptions, you're not going to get those higher valuations. So to you, even though, you know, other websites value them at 2 cents per point, to you, it's going to be 1.5 cents per point. In addition to that, you also can think about how much are you willing to part with your points for, you know, what return in value. Because if you earn your points very easily, you might be willing to accept a lower value return. Okay, I'll give you the example of myself. I earned 100,000 Amex points, and I earned them through referrals. And I was willing to part with them for about 1.2 cents in value per point by transferring them to JetBlue. Okay, JetBlue has quite a bad redemption ratio. But the reason was because I earned them so fast, and JetBlue's flight to Grand Cayman was direct. I could have transferred them to American Airlines and got better redemption, but they didn't have a direct flight. You'd have to change planes. And to me, even though the price was higher, all right, the value was higher, the direct flight was actually worth more. So even though I actually got lower value per points, the actual value to me was higher. You get what I'm saying? So monetary value, it's not always as black and white as saying this is a better redemption in terms of monetary value, so it's worth more. Actually, the flight might be, you might have to connect and change planes, and it's actually worth less to you personally. So anyway, guys, that's just a bit of a sit down, a little bit of a chat, talking about these valuations. Don't see them as set in stone, as like the Holy Grail. Really, there's a lot of factors, and it's what the value is to you personally as well that matters, okay? Since we've been talking about travel credit cards, I'll put some of our favorite travel credit cards in the description. So if you want to earn loads of points and go and travel for free, stay in 5-star hotels, fly first class and business class, those are some credit card deals out there that will enable you to do that. Click below to learn more. As always, it is an affiliate link, so if you want to see the advertiser disclosure, it's in the bottom of the description section of this video. Please subscribe if you're new. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.